Good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about adverb clauses. If you are following along in your textbook, all this information is found on page 94. An adverb clause, just like all the other clauses we are going to talk about, an adverb clause is a dependent clause that acts like an adverb. We should quickly refresh our brains. Adverbs modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. We should also note that if an adverb clause comes before the independent clause, we're going to set it off with a comma. I will show you some examples when we look at our examples. Adverb clauses start with subordinating conjunctions, and there are a lot of subordinating conjunctions. There they are. You're going to want to write these down because you can't find adverb clauses without subordinating conjunctions. This is not an exhaustive list. These are just the common subordinating conjunctions. But here we go. I will read them to you. After, although, as if, as long as soon as though, because, before, even though, if, since, so that, then, though, unless, until, when, whenever, where, wherever, while. Those are your common subordinating conjunctions. Write them down and then keep that list handy. Let us look at some examples. As always, when we are looking for clauses, we are looking for words that start the clauses. So you got to have that list that we just wrote down right next to you. The first sentence reads like this. Twiggy will date other animals when the time is right. If we look at our list of words and we look at the sentence, we see that the word when is a word that starts an adverb clause. Here is my subject. Here is my verb. The entire adverb clause is when the time is right. And it is telling us when she is going to be dating, or will date in this instance. Will date is a verb. Makes sense. This is an adverb. Tells us when she's going to be dating. Adverb clause. Next sentence reads like this. Dating a T-Rex is not an option, however, because T-Rexes are extinct. We look at our list of words and we see that the word because is a word that starts an adverb clause. Here is my subject. Here is my verb. The entire adverb clause is because T-Rexes are extinct. It's an adverb, so it's got to modify something like this right here. Why are we not dating T-Rexes? We're not dating them because they are extinct. Dating is a verb. Adverbs modify verbs. The last sentence reads like this. I still think she should be older than I was before she starts dating. We look at our list of words and we see that the word than is a word that starts an adverb clause. We're going to put a box around it. I is the subject. Was is the verb. Now, we've actually got two in this sentence because we look at our list and we also see that the word before is also a word that starts an adverb clause. Before could also start a prepositional phrase, but we notice that the word before is followed by a subject and a verb. So we have a subject and a verb and a word that starts an adverb clause. So here's one adverb clause. Here is another adverb clause. In this one, than I was, this adverb clause is telling us to what degree she needs to be older. Tells us how much older. And down here, before she starts dating, tells us when she should be older. So when should she be older? Well, she should be older before she starts dating. So we have two adverb clauses, just like that. Here is a little tip for you. And it's true that this tip does not work all the time, but it works enough of the time that for our purposes, it's still a pretty good tip. But this is definitely one of those ones where there are actual exceptions that you will run into. So if you find an exception to this rule, don't panic. But for our purposes, when we are trying to decide if something is acting as an adjective, an adverb, or a noun clause, this tip is going to come in really helpful. The tip goes like this. If the adverb clause is modifying a verb, and 90% of the time it is, then you can, usually, there are exceptions, move the clause to either the front or back of the independent clause. Let's look at these examples. The first example says this. Twiggy would love to date Tim even though she is a kitty and he is a T-Rex. Great. I look at my list of words to start adverb clauses, and I see that the words even though starts an adverb clause. So we're going to put a box around it. Box around it. Even though. Just like that. Okay. She is the subject. Is the verb. So my adverb clause is even though she is a kitty and he is a T-Rex. And we actually have to take all these things together. I can move this because it is modifying would love, and since that's a verb, I can put it to the front. Look, the bottom sentence, the bottom example is when I do this. Even though there's the words that start the dependent clause, even though she and is a kitty and he is a T-Rex, Twiggy would love to date Tim. See how that works? Because this is still modifying would love, because this is a verb, I can put it at the front or the back. Twiggy would love to date Tim, even though she is a kitty and he is a T-Rex. Or, even though she is a kitty and he is a T-Rex, Twiggy would love to date Tim. See how that works? It works really well. Now, the other thing that we should notice, in the second example, notice that because we have the adverb clause before the independent clause, we have to separate it using a comma. Got that? It's a good tip. It works 90% of the time, and for our purposes, 90% of the time is a good amount of the time. Let's look at a couple more examples before we move on. The first sentence reads like this. Because I am running out of ideas, I saved this sentence for last. Because is a word that starts an adverb clause. I is the subject. I am, it's contraction, is the verb. And it tells us why we saved it for last. So, why am I running out of ideas? Why did I save it? Because I am running out of ideas. So again, it modifies the verb. And it comes before the independent clause, so we have to have a comma. And we can even apply the tip that we just learned and put it at the back. I could read the sentence like this. I saved this sentence for last because I'm running out of ideas. See how that works? Let's do another one. Maybe I'll come up with more sentences if I think really hard about it. If is a word that starts an adverb clause. I is our subject. Think is the verb. And the entire clause is think really hard about it. It modifies the verb will come up with. It's kind of a verb phrase. It is a verb phrase. Comes over here like that, and because it's modifying the verb, I can move it. It's at the back, so let's put it at the front. Then the sentence would read like this. If I really think hard about it, maybe I'll come up with more sentences. See? Last one reads like this. After I finish this video, I should go check on Twiggy because it's raining. So I have the word after. We're going to put a box around it because that's a word that starts an adverb clause. Here's the subject, here's the verb. We have to go all the way out to finish this video, just like that. Oh my gosh, there should be a comma here. Put the comma in. All right, there's our comma because it comes before the independent clause. So it says, after I finish this video, there's my adverb clause. Let's put it at the back, see if it works. I should go check on Twiggy because it's raining after... Oh, okay, now here's why this doesn't work. Because look, notice, we have another adverb clause. There's my because, and there's my it is, subject and verb in a contraction. It is raining. So let's see if we can just flip them, because we're not putting it at the end of the sentence, we're putting it at the end of the independent clause. So let's just take both of these and flip it around. Because it's raining, I should go check on Twiggy after I finish this video. See how that works? Because both of these are modifying the verb should go, or should go check on. We'll put it all the way out there. It's another kind of verb phrase thing. So this is modifying that verb, and this is modifying that verb. And that is how adverb clauses work. Great. See you in the next video.